Alright everyone, we start off today talking about bootlicking sellouts and whatever remnant support or respect that I had for people who self-profess progressive values. As of this article, link in the description, archived of course, is completely gone. I'm going to read the title first really quickly here of this article. This is a CNN opinion piece by Sheila Jackson Lee, a representative. I'm a proud progressive who thinks Liz Cheney, Mitt Romney, and George W. Bush are true patriots. Hello, fellow millennials. A heads up here. They've completely sold out. If you think that there's anything left in today's progressive movement or left insofar as anything beyond Bernie Sanders goes, you're wrong. I'm sorry, but they've completely cocked. Now they're professing that warmongers and crooks are a bunch of heroes because of one important thing, which is they disavowed Orange Man's big lie. Get into this a little bit. First and foremost, if you're watching this video on YouTube, there will be links in a pinned comment down below, as well as in the description, to 4 other video hosting sites that I use, as well as to my Substack. Now, I've joined Substack a couple of days ago. Already got over 1,000 people on the email list, actually. Doing well. I've got another article that I'll probably put up later. I intend to do 2 or 3 a week, roughly. But, sometimes I feel like it, sometimes I don't. I'm bad with schedules. Anyway, if you think that George W. Bush is a patriot or a hero or virtuous in any way, shape, or form, I'm sorry, but I can't hold camaraderie with you. As a millennial from the Iraq War generation, looking at all of the death, all of the carnage, looking at the displacement of people in Louisiana and elsewhere, with the FEMA carpetbagging, looking at George W.'s desire to look through people's library records, to censor the airwaves, the culture war that he and people like him waged against all possible common sense, the constant attacks on the U.S. Constitution. If you call yourself a progressive, but you've got Trump derangement syndrome to the point where you're positively comparing a warmongering, butchering asshat like George W., or Mitt, I think we should double Guantanamo, binders full of women, horses, and bayonets, idiot Romney, to Trump, if you actually are that taken in by propaganda, you've got screws loose. The problem with humanity right now, insofar as the United States goes, is that 4 years of non-stop 24/7 propaganda by corporate billionaires of all people seems to have managed to convince progressives, people who ostensibly are corporate skeptics, generally speaking, that Orange Man is somehow worse than Dubya. Look at their actual records. Name a war that Donald Trump began. Name a carpetbagged agency that Donald Trump oversaw. George W. Bush is arguably the worst president in U.S. history. That's not an exaggeration. He was an abysmal and complete failure. By the way, even if I look at mundane polling, and trust me, polling is cherry-picked and was definitely against Trump, he never got to Bush's lows. Bush was down near Jimmy Carter territory at one point. Towards the end, after Katrina, by the way, most people think his presidency was sunk by the Iraq War. Unpopular as though that was, he was still in the low 40s for the most part until Hurricane Katrina hit. Then he got down, I think he was in the upper 20s at one point. That's Jimmy Carter territory. That's like Richard Nixon territory. Mitt Romney. Okay, a 2-time loser who formed the basis for what became the fiasco known as Obamacare that at least most Republicans wanted to rip up. Mitt Romney, who wanted to start again more wars. The McCains and the Cheneys and the Romneys and the Bushes of the world are not good people. They're the problem. By the way, their reluctance to actually deviate the Republican Party's platform from the Democrats and basically just promising people things from the right during primaries and during the general election and then immediately going back to doing nothing as soon as they're elected is at least as much of a reason why Trump was elected as Obama and the Democrats doing the same thing. What happened is that you've got neoliberal and neocon politicians that would make promises and then never fulfill them. Trump made promises and, by the way, walked the walk. It's the first time since at least first-term Ronald Reagan that we've had a president who actually measured up to what they said they wanted to do. This is why I speculate that Trump could possibly win in a Grover-Cleveland-style matchup in 2024 if he chooses to run. By the way, my next Substack article will be on the illusion of Tim Scott. They're trying to set him up, basically, as a straw man to knock down to represent the Republicans based on basically one good rebuttal speech against Joe Biden. I think you'll enjoy the article. It's, I think, the best one I've made so far. But anyway, what did Donald Trump do wrong? This whole thing about the big lie in and of itself, ironically, is a big lie. I've been analyzing this for years. Claims of disinfo are themselves disinfo. Claims of propaganda are themselves propaganda. You've got a mass of the population and the entire corporate network that are trying, media and corporations and so forth, trying to tell people that Donald Trump staged an insurrection. But it never actually happened. There was no insurrection. There was a riot that Trump himself had nothing to do. He was not attendant to that activity. Most of the people that showed up to see Trump speak weren't part of the Capitol riot to begin with. They went off in another direction. But that's all lost in the fog of war because of all of the propaganda. When every single legacy network immediately fixates on it and starts about, oh my God, they were storming through the halls and AOC was almost killed and she was hunkered in a bunker and she was so scared she was crying and stupid things like that. None of these things even happened. You're being completely brainwashed and gaslit by the legacy media. And when you have, again, an individual who openly proclaims, hey, I'm a progressive, aka socialist light. I'm a leftist. I'm the missing link between the Sanders socialists and the neoliberals. So I believe in probably UBI and all this other bullshit. Basically, I'm a socialist light. When a socialist light is saying, well, Bush was actually a pretty cool guy, you have been brainwashed. Now, I can't go inside of this representative's mind and tell whether she's doing this to be disingenuous as a political strategy, which I would surmise probably, or actually believes the shit that she's spewing here. Read the article for yourself and ask yourself, what kind of crazy world are we living in when a bloodthirsty, piggish warmonger, an idiot, an inbred idiot like George W. Bush is being hailed as patriotic or heroic? I'm seeing people who claimed that George W. Bush, rightfully so at the time, by the way, was the devil. He was Hitler. He was worse than Hitler. He was the more unintelligent version of Joseph Goebbels. I agree with all these things. George W. Bush was a complete hatchet man. He played dumb, by the way, on TV, while he was actually the one using Cheney as a facade to take all the flack when he himself was pretending to be a befuddled old man. He killed over 500,000 people in Iraq. Name something comparable that Donald Trump did. I keep hearing that Trump is a dictator. Trump wanted to take over, stage an insurrection, become a dictator, and kill everyone. The proof is in the pudding. Name some actual discrete events or ideas or things that he said that actually concord to that. But I can look at the Bush admin or the suggestions that Romney made for what would have been his admin when he ran against Obama or lost beforehand, didn't even get through the primaries against McCain. If I look at the crazy shit that he said, or I look at the crazy shit that Liz Cheney's daddy did and daddy said, there's no comparison at all. Of course, any reasonable person, especially younger people like me, I'm a millennial, I'm 33 years old, you're never going to get me to support any cause that Bush is attendant to. It's never going to happen. When Bush comes out and lambastes Trump, it makes me like Trump more. That's the honest truth of it. I'm not alone in this surmising. That's about all. Peace out.